Okay. Okay. I'm going to touch base on a few things here real quick. Like, make it, short and sweet. I'm going to try to get in as much as I can in this video because last time, well, video shut off and picked back up recording, so I had to upload a second video. I didn't want to do that. So, anyways, I got some stuff to cover here. Starting off with these clubs, real quick. I don't want to touch base on this. I'm not going to say no names. Not going to happen. I don't want to do that. Not going to happen. In gangs, we all know what gangs are, in the bigger cities and whatever. Of course, the cartels, the MC clubs, and the syndicate. There's good people in these clubs. Hands down, there is good people in there. The good people in these organizations, clubs, can or will turn on the bad beliefs of the club or organization. One day, we may need these people. Something. It may come to that one day. So let's not forget that, and let's remember there's good people in there. And sometimes they do some stuff that, is just is the way it is. But anyways, we're going to leave that one there and moving on here. In 1931, 29 states made cannabis, marijuana illegal. You understand? Shortly after that, all states basically jumped on the wagon and was like, okay, all states in the United States are making it illegal. Fast forward to 2012, cannabis, marijuana became legal in Colorado and Washington. 2012. Fast forward to 2022, the tax revenue from the cannabis sales in the USA in 2022 are $11.2 billion from 37 states. 11.2 billion with a B. That's now you're talking my numbers. I like the B, the billion. I like that. That's good money. This is 37 states just from the tax. This isn't the initial investment. This isn't the profits. This is just the tax. And we could round this up to say 12 billion because there might be a couple people that forgot to add a few things on their taxes. So if all states made cannabis legal, all states would be debt free in 3 to 5 years, maybe 10. What do I mean by that? If 1 year's worth of taxes from 37 states is $11.2 billion, it's safe to say within 3, 5, 10 years max, each state could be debt free. Meaning each state, well, most states, let me back up there. Most states owe the U.S. government a debt. Okay, some states are upside down 8 billion. Some states, which Colorado, for instance, is what you would call a low debt state, meaning it's negligible. It's not even enough to matter. They don't need help. Anyways, it's something to think about, and it would also clear out jails. I'm not saying marijuana is the cat's meow. It's got its good and bad. It's like anything. You abuse it, it's going to be a bad deal, I promise. It has its place, but it needs to be controlled and not abused. Right here we have, let's go in the 70s, 80s, and 90s. The jails started to get overflowing with non-violent criminals. Cannabis was bogging down the system, meaning cannabis arrests were taking the place where hard, bad criminals would have went. So they're putting all their money and their resources into arresting Stoner Steve. That dude couldn't hurt a bag of chips. I'm sorry. That's the way it goes. Here's the problem. Once they're a felon, they don't care. Can't do nothing no more. Meaning back in the day, if you got slapped with a dime bag of weed, you were a felon. It's over, forget it. You're not getting a good job. You're not going to be able to carry your gun to protect the public and yourself with. Your credit's just shit. So you're condemned for a lifetime of hell because you got a felony. Some people deserve a felony. I think violent people in a bad way and pure evil people deserve a felony, not regular people. Sometimes they pass out felonies a little too easily. 40 to 60% of all inmates in the United States, starting in 1970 to 2022, started out with bullshit marijuana charge. Okay? When you do this, when you give someone a felony on marijuana, you are condemning them to a life of hell. Because now the only thing they can do now is become a criminal. Because they can't get a good job, they can't do anything, there's nothing there for them to do. What's the solution for that? Remove some felony records that are non-violent. We got this thing here in America where when you get a felony, boy, it's yours forever. Not a good idea. Maybe if they thought about it, after 5 to 10 years of good life, no problems, you're a good boy, you're a good girl, you lose that felony. If it's non-violent or not a bad felony. If they show good behavior for 5 or 10 years, give them something to look forward to. That gives a reason to do good. When you stick them with a felony and they're stuck there forever, you're telling them, hey, you're not wanted in, the public anymore. You're an outcast now because you're a felon. Especially, it's more easier now because there's more liberal ways, and liberals are a little bit more lenient. As we're a conservative, they're like, I don't know. But so anyways, that is something to think about. Maybe, possibly, think about it is all I'm saying. If you give somebody something to look forward to, you would be surprised what the outcome would be. Before I go this way and touch base on one thing, I want to touch base on something else. In the late 1990s, families are more divided than ever before. Jealousy, betrayal, loss of trust. No one feels true emotions anymore. Heartless, no respect. I witnessed this. And I seen the tail end of it, even in my own family, my own bloodline, everything. Our family to combine, 300-400 people. Combined, grandkids, all that, you know what I'm saying? So I witnessed this right here in the 90s. This happened in the 90s, okay? Families are torn apart. Whether the internet had anything to do with that, I don't know. Possibly. I think it was a key player. Moving on. 1967, California banned pistols. I remember as a young man with my grandpa. My grandpa used to deal in guns. Well, California introduced the Mulford Act, meaning you can't carry your gun, you can't have your gun no more. And yes, before you say something, hold on, let me finish here. Guns were banned in some states, bad idea. 1970s to 2022, I don't care what you say, if you ban weapons in that state, you give criminals who are very intelligent free pass. Okay, they can reign supreme because what they're going to do, they're going to go to a state where no one can have guns, no one can carry guns. They know they will be king in that state because no one can stop them. Now in California, you can have a gun, meaning the gun has to be in the glove box and the bullets have to be in the trunk inside a locked box. That does you no good. I don't care what anybody says. You look at the 4 major states that have banned guns. New York, California, and a couple of the 2. It was more than that, but those are your 2 main ones. The crime is off the charts. Don't blow that smoke up my ass. Well, per capita, per ratio of this many people. No, eat my ass. You ban guns. I don't care if there's 20 million people or 20 people there. It's bad. Don't try to sugarcoat it. So, moving on. 2022, some states are still free with guns. So in those states, and I'm not saying bad stuff don't happen in the states where people do have guns. I'm not saying that. I'm saying a criminal is going to be more edgy. Like, I don't know about this because, Grandma Betty over there or young Buck over here, he may be packing a pistol. It's percentage. It's a percentage that you don't want to take as a criminal. So you take your ass to a place where you can reign supreme. Moving on. The major ban across the USA on guns happened in the 70s. Are we noticing a pattern right here? 70s, 80s, and 90s was a turning point for the USA. These 30-year period right here set the pace for where we're at today. Okay, moving on. 1970s. This was a major turning point, and I'm not adding race relations in here. We all know the African American community, to some degree, had some bad problems with police. There's no debating it. There's no denying it. That's another video. I don't want to touch base on that. But for everybody in the 70s, they didn't give a shit who you were. Your ass was grass. Okay? Starting in 70s, clear up to 2022. Officer and public relations declined in the 70s. Policing for profit. Too many tickets. You know what policing for profit means? That means they nonstop just cranking machines. The superiors high up would hand them a ticket book and say, hey, empty this ticket book. So now what you've done is you've turned our officers against us, because the only way through promotion is through writing the tickets. Now, maybe something's changed I don't know about. But growing up, that's how an officer got promoted, was through their bus. Okay, catch a big fish. You know, hey, big fish, get him. You know what I'm saying? That's it. Not a good idea. Arresting people for nonviolent crimes. Weed, for instance. Arresting of people kicking ass of loudmouth trolls. Back in the day, we used to have alpha males. Whether you're 5'1" alpha male or 7'8" alpha male, it don't matter. My dad was 5'3" or 5. He's a mean son of a bitch, but he come at you with a smile. No, I never did the tough guy thing, not one single time. He's a little fella too, but meaner than a rattlesnake. But anyways, arresting people for kicking ass with loudmouth trolls started in the 70s, really kicked into gear in the year 2005. That's when it really happened. I'm not saying there hasn't always been shit talkers, but anyways. Confiscation of personal property for no good reason. Going back to marijuana, you know, the Emerald Triangle. We all know the Emerald Triangle. Respect to all the growers out there. But you need to take your hat off and bend the knee to the Emerald Triangle in California. Them boys and girls was losing their property. They were losing their cars. That's been passed down through generations, all over confiscation of growing some weed. The Emerald Triangle in California is the longest growing in America. It started in the Emerald Triangle. No, I'm not talking about you, uncle, you know what I'm saying? You did it, but in the, like a shed on a low key. In the state you're in, your state, let's just put it this way, is $8 billion in debt to the U.S. government. Remember that, $8 billion. So, and that is the state east of Missouri. So, anyways, moving on here. So, crooked cops were running rampant, okay? Bad example cops, very rude, hurtful cops. Just, case in point, there's a incident back in Tennessee right now where a young man got in some shit on a jet ski. I don't want to touch base on it. I don't know if he wants me mentioning his name, but he was on a jet ski goofing around and he broke the wake or something like that. Well, this officer, who was unbecoming, he was very disrespectful, was using the middle finger, talking very vulgar to this guy. I'm not saying this guy is innocent, like doesn't fart around, but he is not disrespectful. Not in that way. When he's on show, he gets into character. That's his character. When he's in real life, he's another person. I think he's a good guy. I think the officer, the senior officer at the lake where they're at, was being very rude and embarrassed the shit out of Tennessee. Because it just showed a side of Tennessee nobody wants to see. I'm not saying you can't be authoritative and do stuff, but you can't use your powers for bad. I don't think the young man had any bad intentions. But anyways, something like that. Moving on. 21, 22. Officer and public relations seems like it's getting better. On some level it is. I seen the other day, I was going through Republic, and an officer stopped what he's doing. He didn't give a shit about the cameras or nothing. And he was helping the kids cross the road. Do you know how long it's been since I've seen that? I'm just saying. We want to support, love, and respect officers that support, love, and respect you, us. I had a very dodgy past, but no matter what I did, I respected law enforcement, unless they made it personal. I never gave them a reason not, you know what I'm saying, to make it personal. You got me, you got me. Of course, knock on wood, they never got me on anything big. I never did too much bad stuff. I just did naughty shit, I was raised poor. When you're raised poor, you don't get the benefits of a $100,000 college or anything. You know, I can start a car without a key. I can move merchandise around the world without any problems. I don't do that. I'm just saying that some of my skills that I do not use. A lot of my friends are like, man, why do you, get by just barely on whatever you're getting when you could be a billionaire? And I'm like, yeah, you're right, I could. But I'd have to sell my soul. And I really like my soul. I'm not saying I'm perfect. I've said this before, I'll say it again. I have sinned more on one day than most people sin all year. But on my worst day, my faith is stronger than in some entire congregations, and in one case, probably an entire state. But that's another video. So moving on. This whole time when we got the 70s officers clear up to 2022, remember the good law enforcement through the years. There is good law enforcement. It's hard to be an officer. Stress levels off the charts. Do you realize they deal with really unsavory characters all day long? And it takes a strong officer. I mean, just a legend not to let them win. And I see how easy it could be. I see some of these things on like these YouTube channels, and it's like, wow, you guys go through hell. I get it. Believe me. There's good and bad. There's good and bad officers. I promise you that. I wouldn't be who I am today if not for when I was 3 or 4 years old, a sheriff in Tennessee. He gave me a path in life to go towards. If not for him, I don't know what I would be today. And I mean this. Rest in peace, Leon Davis. So, moving on. Yes, we're going to remember those right there. So we covered all this right here. Let me see where my time is. Okay, we're at 17. All right, so got that covered. Tax revenue, the good people in the clubs. Cannabis was a major disaster doing that. I'm not going to do it, but 1931 to 2022, if you get bored and you think you're savvy enough, I don't want to do that because I don't want to disrespect anybody, okay? But add up the tax revenue lost from 1931 to 2022. What do you think that is? Let me give you a hint. Starts with a T. Okay? Moving on here. Let's go over here. Let's move the camera. What do we have here? What we have here is something. It's in regards to bullies, loudmouths, people, giving people too many chances. Don't do that. Do not give chances. I have gotten myself into more shit through the year, giving friends and family, business associates, second chances that did not deserve it, all because I either love them, I enjoyed being around them, I was making great money with them. Several people through the years I have made really good money with, and that it's hard when money's involved because money pays the bills. So anyways, let's get going here because I don't want the camera shut off. So, number 1, say goodbye to anyone that plays with your head. Never second guess your gut instinct. It don't matter who they are. Friends, family, fill in the blank. Meaning, if you got one of those friends that plays with your head, they just enjoy that shit, whether it's a girlfriend, a boyfriend, a friend, a family member, and you're telling them something and they're in that denial phase. You know in your heart and head what you're saying is the truth. Like, well, I know you did this, or I know you took this, or something. No, I didn't do that. And they're just totally messing with you because they know on some level you love them, trust them, whatever. So to some degree, they can get by with it. When your gut tells you something, back off. Don't second guess your gut. Say goodbye, save yourself the headache, okay? Never give second chances to anyone that you're not 100% sure they are sorry for whatever they did. It will bite you on the ass. I bet and promise you. Someone does you wrong once. I'm talking like, man, that ain't cool. And you're like, oh, it's okay. If it's really bad and they're not 100, they can't be 95% sorry. They have to be 100% sorry. They're sorry for whatever they did. That's fair. You get a second chance. Okay? If you don't follow these 2, right here. It will put you in a nosedive. You may not be able to pull out of it. Meaning, what I'm saying is, let's use a plane as a metaphor here. Say you're in a single engine Cessna and the shipment breaks loose in the back. It's moving all around. You and your buddy's like, hey, you grab it. He's like, hey, I can't get it by myself. I need help. Like, okay, let go of the controls. Well, this is happening inside your head. You're back there in your head trying to figure out a way to strap this load down, and you're like, what the hell is going on here? The whole time, plane's going down. Altimeter's going crazy. You know, all your gauges, everything's going wacky. And what's happening is, once you get so close to the ground, no matter how hard you grab those controls and pull back, it don't make it shit. You are not pulling that plane out of that dive, because the descent to pull ratio, I need to draw it out, but you need so many feet to pull out of a dive. Same way with your life. If you let go of those controls for too long, when you pull out, you have an option. You can grab the controls as hard as you can and pull back and hope you can pull out maybe more like this. Like that. If you don't grab those controls in time, boom! Okay, moving on here. We're at 3. Moving on 4. Some humans, no matter how much you like them or love them, you must block, unfriend, delete. Say goodbye forever. Now, I touch base on this over here on a political level. I'm not saying just one side. Both sides. It's as if you see 2 children arguing over a piece of candy. You're never going to win. Or 2 immortals. You're never going to win. Leave it alone. Go talk or argue about something else. No one gives a shit. Never you want to make a difference? Go vote. Go be a productive member of society instead of sitting around there spending 10 hours a day bitching about something that don't matter. Never let no one push you around. Stand up for yourself and others if you can. Don't be, Captain Save-A-Ho, as they call me, or whatever. Just do the best you can for your community. You have to serve your community. It's your obligation as a citizen to do good for your community. Pick up trash. Give away compliments. Be positive. Positive actions produce positive results. Negative actions produce negative results. This is not, this is simple shit. This is psychology 101. Do not try to be nice to a bully or loudmouth troll. It will not work. They are dead inside. They have no heart or soul. They are weak-minded chicken shit punks. Don't try to be nice. Don't try to negotiate with them. The best thing you can do is ignore them unless you feel, like you can put up a good fight in a cut down, comeback kind of way. Don't get this twisted with a joker. Okay, a lot of people get bullies mixed up with a joker, a guy that likes to joke around. He's just a hard ass. After a while, a hard ass joker, they'll back off when they realize they're starting to hurt someone's feelings. They're like, okay, I took it too far, my bad. But a bully will just lay into you relentlessly. Have no respect for a bully, ever. Or try to do don't try to talk down the situation. When I was younger, like I said, I went to like 30 different schools. So needless to say, I encountered a few bullies. And it was a bad deal too, because my dad was a hardcore felon, couldn't get any problems. It wasn't until 9th grade till I realized the power that I have. And the power that I have is basically, leave me alone, or I'm going to, crack your skull open, or throw it in or something. Please leave me alone. I don't want to hurt you. But I will. And a bully, when you confront a bully, I'm telling you, I spent too many years taking shit. And then the first time I did, it was like, oh shit, but what you got to do is you got to catch them alone. When no one's around. And we're like, one of us, we ain't walking out of here. So we can either settle this now, or, if you bullshit me and say, yeah, and then I got to come back later, I'm going to be all hyped up in the head. So don't do that. So anyways, ignore bullies, as long as you can until they're disrespecting you, and then just stand up for yourself if you feel strong enough. Missouri is a stand your ground state. You can use deadly force if you believe such force is necessary to prevent death or serious physical injury to your human body. Literally. Meaning, don't pick a fight, because a jury will have no mercy on you. But if someone's fixing to beat you into a coma or hurt you in some way, you can use a weapon. But you need to make it damn sure that you said loud and clear, I don't want this. I don't want no problems. You're going to force me to use lethal force. Please stop. I will do it. Do not go looking for problems or a fight, but stand your ground if attacks come at you in a violent or life-threatening way, meaning never back down. You don't have to back down. That is not something that you have to do, especially if you live in the state of Missouri. Now, what I mean by that, don't take that the wrong way. If you cause problems or you go looking for a fight, Missouri don't go for that. A jury will have no sympathy for you, I promise. They will just, you're going to get a 40-year sentence. But if you stand your ground, because Missouri is a stand your ground state, and some other states are this way too. Meaning, don't do it. I don't care if that person's 5'1" or 7'8". If someone comes at you, you have the right as a human American citizen to defend yourself. Because let's face it, if someone beats you into a coma, the world's still going to go on. So you might as well save your ass before you get there. I'm just saying. And a lot of people don't realize that, well, I can defend myself that way? Yes, as long as you are not starting that fight. You cannot start the fight. You cannot have a history of starting fights. You have to be respectful and cordial and, let people know I'm going to defend myself. I'm kind of good at it. So can we make some money together or something? Trust me, try to go that way. I am a big advocate of money. Friends make more money together than enemies. I can't believe the world doesn't even know this yet. But if you have an enemy, you are not going to make no money with that person. I promise you. It's going to be bad. It's going to be terrible. Okay, up to 27 minutes. I'm trying to get all this in here before the damn camera goes bleep. So basically, this is all common sense shit. Back away from people. And that goes for both sides on that block, unfriend, delete. I don't give a shit if you're left or right. Stop keeping that shit going. Stop it. I have associates that they're conservative, and I have associates that are liberal, and all they do is nonstop. You guys aren't going to win. Don't you see? You're like two immortals battling to the death that's never coming. Because this side's going to say this, and this side's going to say this. It's a never-ending thing, so why not try to make something good out of it, What happened was, around 2005, 2010, people lost their sports. When I grew up, this political shit was only about 20%. And that was from the elders. Damn it. That was from the elders. You never heard nobody talking about politics. For several reasons. One, you don't talk about politics openly. You don't do it. At all. Ever. And everybody's guilty of it. But when you catch yourself, you're like, oh, I got to back up. I can't do this. I can't do this. Because it's going to be bad. So, anyway, moving on. Where are we at here? So, that's it. So I think I've covered everything for the most part. We got really good officers and we need to support them and they need to be cordial. They need to be respectful, which most of them are. There's only a handful that, grumpy Gus's. Families have lost that family connection, especially after the grandparents die. It all goes downhill from there. It seems like the grandparents hold the family together, what is left of the family. But right now, people have no respect for anyone, much less their own family members. Hopefully it gets better. Hopefully the tide changes and people can start, really uniting and moving forward in life instead of a negative way. So, I guess that's kind of it there, unless I'm forgetting something. Let's see here. So this is a big thing though. In order to make any of the good stuff happen in life, since the world is ran off of the internet, you must block, unfriend, delete. It doesn't matter if you're left or right. If you have nothing to talk about, since sports have went to hell with getting in the middle of the political thing, that ruined it. I know half of my family backed away from sports. Well, they'll still watch a game every now and then, but they don't support them financially like they used to. They used to buy the pay-per-view. I don't know if pay-per-views is still a thing or not, but they don't even do that anymore on certain ones of them. So, anyways, I guess I just jab here for a minute till the camera shuts off or whatever. But that's pretty much it, I guess. You know, all this stuff is self-explanatory. Everyone knows this. You know, and again, I'm not saying let's touch base on the marijuana. I'm not saying marijuana is the perfect thing because it's not. It can really mess you up. You can get so stoned out of your mind, you don't want to do anything in life. I smoked cannabis for 25 years. Okay, touch base on something real fast. I smoked cannabis when a 4-finger bag in the 80s and 90s, you smoke a joint